So I am doing this because I'm petty. And I'm doing it because I was not invited into the conversation to which he had, which I think is rude. And since I wasn't invited to the conversation, um, I figure I will have my own conversation with the podcast, just absent of them. What's up? Because so I had to do this because listening to the podcast, it ran up my blood pressure. And I know why he didn't invite me on the podcast because he didn't want me to tell the truth. He didn't want me to tell the truth. Um, so it's fine. Yeah, Victor, you sit here. I sat and I listened. I listened to your pod, the one to which I was not invited to. And so um, this is mine. I'm gonna have a conversation. I'm gonna take my own counsel and tell you why you were wrong about so many things. So let's start here because one of the things that kept coming up in the Hello Beautiful People podcast was what was the criteria, right? Like, what is the matrix by which they are evaluating these things? Well, I'll read it to you because there was one. So this was the criteria. It says in this last stanza of the paragraph before they get into their list of rankings. Um, the top 100 NBA players ever ranking, taking into account the total of each player's NBA career, cumulative and average stats, awards, playoffs, championships. This is important. Cultural impact. And lastly, overall greatness. Right? So this is the matrix by which they're evaluating the list. This is not this. So what they're saying is we're not being emotional, like we're being rational, and there's data that we look at, not to evaluate your favorite player who you think is the GOAT. This is the criteria. Again, each player's the totality of each player's NBA career, the cumulative stats, average stats, awards, playoffs, championships, cultural impact, and overall grade. So to this end, let's dissect this list. What's up, D Tovin? Hey, look, I'm out here. I'm out here trying to tell the truth. That's all. That's all. I'm trying to take, like Jesse Jackson said, I'm trying to take common sense to high places. That's all. I just want us to think through these things. Now, here's my thing. 100 of the greatest players in NBA history. Now, there have been thousands over the course of the NBA's existence. We are talking about the cream of the crop here. Granville Waiters didn't make this list. Olin Polynice didn't make this list. Benoit Benjamin didn't make this list. God bless him. Kwame Brown. They ain't make this list. No shade. I'm just saying, like, clearly they're better basketball players than you and I, but they didn't make this list. So we're talking about the 1% of the greatest NBA players who have ever played the game. So nobody on this list is a scrub. We can have conversations about whether they are deserving to be on the list, or we can have a conversation about where they are placed on this list, right? That's a fair conversation, seeing as that they put up a public document and gave it to the public, and so we're going to have conversations about it. Here's where I'll start with the Hello Beautiful People podcast. First of all, two things before I get into the top list of people. Here's what I found deeply disrespectful, where I think Victor leads the people wrong, to which that happens a lot, which is why he doesn't call me on the podcast, because I'm here like Paul Pierce to tell the truth, minus the coke. The Bill Walton disrespect is the conversation around Bill Walton, however brief it was on the podcast, was incredibly disrespectful, and it means that what they clearly don't understand is basketball. You know, because that's what we're talking about here. Pastor Camille, what's happening? How are you? I hope you're well. The Bill Walton at 55, I think is actually too low. You'll tell me that he was hurt more than half of his NBA career. You'll tell me he only played 10 years. And out of the 10 years, maybe he was healthy 4 of them. Perhaps. I'm just throwing that out there. Perhaps Bill Walton was healthy 4 out of the 10 years he played. But let's look at this for what it is. Right? Bill Walton, accolades, 2-time champion, 1-time season MVP, 1-time finals MVP, 2-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, 2-time All-Defense. He has 1 rebounding title. He has 1 blocks title, plus he was 6th man and played 10 seasons. That, if you would condense that to a 5-year career, and let's just say because he was only healthy for maybe half of the time, if you told me like, well, technically in 4 years that he was healthy, he won half the time. He won 2 championships. He has 1 season MVP. He has 1 finals MVP. He was a 2-time All-NBA, 2-time All-Star, 2-time All-Defense, 1 rebounding title, 1 block title, plus a 6th man. And he was only healthy 4 years. That means when he was healthy, he was probably the best 1 or 2 players in the whole league. In a league when Bill Walton was at his prime, Kareem had peaked, but he wasn't on the down. Like, Kareem basically owned the 70s. So this whole Bill Walton, listen to anybody who played against Bill Walton talk about Bill Walton when he was at his best, when he was healthy, and he technically was never healthy. If there's anybody whose body betrayed him, it was the great Bill Walton. And so if he was healthy for 4 years, and in 2 of those years, he was an MVP. He won 2 titles. He was a Finals MVP, a blocks leader, a rebound leader, a six man, 2-time All Star. Who else did that? And I know I'm codifying a lot, whatever, because he played technically. He had a 10-year career. Again, he was only healthy for maybe four. First of all, he was never healthy again. He was only on the court maybe 4 years. And in 4 years, half the time, he was basically the best player in the NBA. I'm preaching and ain't nobody said nothing. So this whole. So do I think Bill Walton should be higher on the list? Absolutely. 55. If you telling me that basically out of the best players ever to play the game, that he was average amongst them, is absolutely ridiculous. He's absolutely ridiculous. He is. If he's 55, he should be 20 spots ahead. He should be at least top 35. Top 35. I'm talking basketball out here. That's what we're doing tonight. We're talking basketball. Here is where the Hello Beautiful People podcast did not focus enough of their ire. They did not focus enough. And there are issues here that, I mean, some things that I would take issue with. Grant Hill made this list. No, at number 79. Love Grant Hill. I was a Duke fan. 5-time All-Star, All-NBA, 7-time All-Star, and Rookie of the Year. That's his accolades. On 16 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 48% field goal, 31% from 3-point. And I understand. Again, it was not healthy most of the time. But does that merit him? Does that merit him top 100? Love him. Great guy. Beautiful wife. Scary kid. But I top 100. Pau Gasol. Pau at 62. 2-time champion, Rookie of the Year, 6-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA. On 17 points, 9 rebounds. 18 years. Pau was a fine player. Let's say of his era, top 3 big man. Just beautiful game. Top 100 though. If he puts up those numbers, and then we have to take into account the championships, of course, because that's part of the criteria. So I'm not leaving anything out. 2-time champion. If he doesn't have the 2 championships, he's just Rookie of the Year and a 6-time All-Star and a 4-time All-NBA. Does that merit top 100? Okay. All right. I have no idea. It's gonna be. I don't know why Tracy McGrady is on here, but okay, I get it. His accolades are 2001 most improved NBA player, 7-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA, 2-time scoring champion on less than 20 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists for a career. All right. Here is where another place that the Hello Beautiful People podcast got this wrong. Because I love all of them. They're my brothers, and so I'm here to help. This is all love. you talk about Bill Walton or whatever shouldn't be on here, but Luka should. What has Luka done? What has Luka done? I know he plays for the Lakers. I get it. I, 5-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, Rookie of the Year, 1 scoring title. No MVPs. No playoff success to mention. Ain't never played a lick of defense his whole life. After 7 years played, 28 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. What success has he had that merits him top 100? They have Luka above Alex English. I just I don't get it. This is where, to me, the Hello Beautiful People podcast should have been focusing most of their attention. Cause it's the for me to like the 12 through 35 that are the abomination, while this list has very little credibility. This is where they should have concentrated their ire. Because I don't understand how Luka is this high on the list. And you're telling me Luka had a better basketball player that was at Willis Reed at 58? Melo at 60? I'm trying to make Bob McAdoo at 61. There are better players, and we can't give Luka a place on this the 100 playing less than 10 years based off potential. That's what I'm saying. That's, to me, where the Hello Beautiful People and the beautiful people on the Hello Beautiful People podcast got this. Like, this is where they should have focused most of their ire, right here between 12 and 35. Paul Pierce at 46. Paul Pierce told y'all last week he was the best pure scorer the NBA has ever seen. Again, got to stay off the drugs. Got to. It's ruining podcasts everywhere. But I think 46 is too low for Paul. And I've never, been, that high on any Celtic except for Bill Russell and Hondo. But I'm not going to discount what I saw this guy do on the court. Again, here's my commentary on that Celtic team. Kevin Garnett, Ken Perkins, Paul Pierce talk about that Celtic team like they were a dynasty. And I promise you, every time they talk about that Celtic team, I feel like I missed at least 2 or 3 other championships. They won one time. And we still talking about them. They still talking. They talk about that one championship like it was like they three-peated. And I promise you, I can't find these other 2 championships. Paul Pierce won one time. And that's fine. That's fine. He won. Great. One-time championship, one-time finals MVP, 4-time All-NBA, 10-time All-Star, all-rookie first team. Averaging less than 20. He averaged 19, right at 20. 20 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 steal per game. His production on the court was so consistent. He had playoffs success. And he won, I think, 46. Paul Pierce is top 35. But 46? This is where the Hello Beautiful People podcast. You have Russell Wilson at 48. Fine player. He ain't won nothing. How is he ahead of Paul Pierce? I'm just trying to take common sense to high places. These are the questions that the beautiful people on the Hello Beautiful People podcast to me should have been asking. But they didn't want me. Here's another thing. Anthony Davis at 45. 1 championship, 5 All-NBA, 10-time All-Star, 5 All-Defensive, 3 block titles. Those are fine stats. On 24 points per game, 11 rebounds. Okay. Is that a little high? I think so. I think that's a bit high for Anthony Davis. But that's just me. George Gervin at 42. I'm fine with that. Rick Barry. They got Rick Barry at 41. He's right outside the top 40. Do I think he deserves to be top 40? You're going to tell me there were 40 better basketball players than Rick Barry, a guy who won once, was 1 final MVP, 6-time All-NBA, 12-time All-Star, NBA Rookie of the Year, 2 scoring titles, 1 in the NBA and ABA, and has the steals title. On 25 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 45% from the field goal. He was a bucket. They could not do anything with Rick Barry. Nobody could. Oh, also while shooting like 90% from the free throw. Played 14 seasons. He was a bucket. These are the crimes of this list that the beautiful people at the Hello Beautiful People podcast should have been talking about. I haven't even got to whether I thought they were wrong or not. So again, I want this on record. I ain't saying you were wrong about anything yet. I am saying if you are wrong, I think you focused on the wrong. The crimes were not the top 12, top 13 maybe. It was that 13 through about 40 is where crimes against humanity happen. And you all said nothing about it. "13 through 40 basically is like Gaza. But we just going to ignore it and act like no crimes were committed." That's how they treated the beautiful people at the Hello Beautiful People podcast, treated 13 through 40. To which my contribution is to fill in these blanks here. I'm not going to be before you long, church. Patrick Ewing at 40. Clyde, 39. Oof. That's high. That's high for a 1-time champion, 10-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA. On 20 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 15. And you say he's underrated. I think he's as rated as he needs to be. I saw Clyde Drexler play, could jump out the gym. He also couldn't go left, and he dribbled with his head down, which, if you had those limitations and you still averaged 20 points for your career, means you were one heck of an athlete. He was a streaky shooter. He was not a knockdown shooter. He was a slasher. Could get to the rim. Was he the quickest? No. There were people in the league who had quicker first steps. But that guy could leap. And I think that And he won. He won one. So I'm not mad at him. He won. You tell me on this list that Patrick Ewing is at 40. Rookie of the year, 11-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA, three different All-NBA teams on 21 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 50% for his career. And you're telling me Clyde Drexler, who does not have those numbers, he wasn't a scoring champ, never won a scoring championship, never won a steals title, never won a rebounding title, a 5-time All-NBA. Patrick shot better from the field when he was a center. I just don't see. This is where the tragedies come in, which the beautiful people on the Hello Beautiful People podcast did not address. These are the issues that need to be talked about. Bob Cousy, 37. I'm fine with that. Here's where I'm calling out Victor George Smith. He's my brother. And this is all in love. This is all in love. Corey, what's up, Reed? I'm trying to help the people out here. Here's where, Victor, you are wrong. The first wrongness of the episode of Hello Beautiful People podcast. Y'all sat there and let Bleacher Report play in y'all face to have Allen Iverson at 36. Look, he didn't win nothing. That's fair. He ran into Shaq. And that 76ers team shouldn't have been in the finals anyway. He willed them to the finals, to which I think that should count for something according to the criteria, his overall greatness. That's how great he was. The shortest guy on the court got them to the NBA finals. And that first game against Shaq and Kobe cooked them, lit both of them up. But the criteria was NBA career, it was awards, it was accolades, and then it was cultural impact. There have been only 3 or 4 NBA players who affected not only NBA culture, but American culture and a global culture. Allen Iverson is a touchstone. There's the league before Allen Iverson, and there's the league after Allen Iverson. And how the Bleacher Report does not qualify that to counterbalance the fact that he never won a championship, I don't know. Again, there's only 2 or 3 culturally impactful players. Like, the game changed around, the culture of the game. And I talk about what happens on the floor. I talk about the culture around the game. AI is one of 3 people off the top of my head. And how they got Allen Iverson at 36, who was a rookie of the year, 11-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA, 4-time scoring champion, 3-time steal champion, on 27 points per game, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, on 42% field goals and 31% from 3. And you're telling me he's at 36. And you got Steve Nash at 35. See, this is where the Hello Beautiful People and the Beautiful People of the Hello Beautiful People podcast ran up my blood pressure. This is where you should have been focusing your ire. This is where you should have got on the phone and called Bleacher and tell him that your report is wrong. Because this is Allen Iverson at 31, at 36, and Steve Nash at 36, at 35. I don't get it. Help me. Tell me. I don't understand. That is a crime. You're telling me Steve Nash, you're 2-time MVP, 7-time All NBA, 8-time All Star, 5 assist titles on 14 points, 3 rebounds, 8 assists, 50% from the field, 42% from 3. Look, I love Canada. I got a whole drawer full of ginger ale right now. Come right from Canada. Don't tell me I've been loving Canada since I was like this. I drink ginger ale all the time. It's one of my favorite drinks. Steve Nash don't need to be 35 on this list because I love Canada. Here's another travesty to which the beautiful people at the Hello Beautiful People didn't bring up. James Harden at 34 and AI at 36? How? James Harden, 1-time MVP, 8-time All-Star, 11-time All-Star, All-NBA, 11-time All-Star, 3-time scoring champion, 2-time assist champion, 6th man of the year on 24 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal, 40% from the field, 35 from 3. You could say, well, his numbers are slightly lower than AI's, but they're close. And then I would say to you, okay, if you want to argue that, you can make that case. But cultural impact? Here's the cultural impact that James Harden has contributed to basketball. Don't nobody play defense no more. That's his contribution to the game. Everybody travels when they shoot and they don't play defense. I would make a case that James Harden has ruined basketball. Y'all want to talk to me about Steph Curry ruining basketball? No, James Harden has ruined basketball. You got plenty of two-way players. You know, people who played on both sides of the ball who are ranked way lower than James Harden simply because for a 3 or 4 year stretch, he was the whole offense. And in the league where they don't play defense, he got to play one-on-one. He got to shoot the ball every time down the court. This is where these are the crimes in which the Hello Beautiful People with the Beautiful People on Hello Beautiful People podcast did not address, to which I am taking issue with. Jason Kidd at 33. Kawhi Leonard at 32. And all of these people are above Allen Iverson. I don't know, Bubba Chuck rolling over in his grave. How? I don't understand it. Look, Kawhi Leonard, 2-time champion, 2-time Finals MVP, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, 6-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, 7 All-Defensive, 1 steal leaders on 20 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals on 50% shooting. He's played 13 years in the NBA. He has been healthy half that time. Which, if you're saying to me that's a 6-year career and he's accumulated these things, I get it. But the criteria is not only that, again, according to them, it's cultural impact. Kawhi can't affect the culture and can't have an impact on the culture if he don't play basketball. Well, I don't remember the last time somebody told me he played basketball last season. I don't remember. I don't remember when. So you tell me if we're going to take the whole thing. This is a great career. Kawhi Leonard to me is a bigger what if than Grant Hill. Just their bodies betrayed them, right? And for what Kawhi has been able to produce, Grant Hill would love these numbers to be that productive and basically be hurt half the time. So I'm not belittling Kawhi. But when you look at his numbers up against AI's numbers, and then you factor into what they said, cultural impact, I think this is high for Kawhi. Or at least he should not be higher on this list than Allen Iverson. Again, I'm trying to take common sense to high places. You got Chris Paul at 30. Here's where is the tragedies. And on this list, like Walter Hawkins said, tragedies are commonplace. There are tragedies all up and down this list. I will tell you, I've never been a big, huge fan. But I respect him for the most part. I think my issue with Chris Paul is that when it counted in the playoffs, I have seen him be down 1 point, ball in his hand. He needs to either take a shot or get his team a shot, and he chokes consistently. I'm one of those people. The regular season really doesn't mean that much because on any given night in the league like this, it could be your night. You can run up numbers. You can hit your marks. You can make sure that you're going to get that bonus that was incentivized in your contract. So good players during the regular season, they eat. You're proven in the playoffs. And I have not seen Chris Paul have the playoff success. And again, that was one of the criterias that the Bleacher Report put in the playoffs. And so here's where I think him and AI, because his numbers are better, AI's numbers are better. Chris Paul is 17 points, 4 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals, 47% from the field. They're close. I mean, of course, AI is going to average more points. Chris Paul doesn't have any scoring titles. He has 5 assist titles. He has 6 steal titles. That's a great career. We have these conversations as if you move somebody down a couple of spaces, that we're saying that they're garbage and they don't. No, we're talking about the best of the best here. I don't think, given the criteria, and I will add in with emphasis playoffs and cultural impact, I don't think Chris Paul is a better player than Allen Iverson. They function differently. If Allen Iverson was always, floating between point guard and shooting guard, he was too small to be a shooting guard, shot too much to be a point guard. He was somewhere in the middle. Allen Iverson, on every team he has been on until later on in his career, he was the system. There wasn't no triangle for Allen Iverson. He was the offense. That wasn't the case for Chris Paul. I don't think that Chris Paul should be this high on this list or above Allen Iverson. And this is to which these are the atrocities that the beautiful people on the Hello Beautiful People podcast did not address. John Stockton at 29. Here's a hot take for you. Here's a hot take for you. I think that John Stockton is a better point guard than Isaiah Thomas. And you can say, well, Patrick, you from Chicago, and you're a Chicago Bulls fan, and you grew up in the 90s, you watch basketball in the 80s, and so you hate Isaiah Thomas. That may be true. I was at a fundraiser one time a few years ago, and Isaiah Thomas was there. It's like, that's Isaiah Thomas. I saw how small he was compared to me. And in that moment, I gained a lot more respect for him, that he was able to play on that high of a level when the league was dominated by big men. And for him to do what he did, the way he did it, in that moment, I gained so much respect for Isaiah Thomas, even more than I had. And I was like, you know what? I should go speak to him and tell him that. And then I thought about how he tried to kill Michael Jordan. It's like, I ain't telling him nothing. He tried to take Michael Jordan out many times. I saw it with my own eyes. We used to see Detroit and them beat up on Michael and Scotty, and they lose the game. We go to the court, meet up at the park after the game. We almost be in tears. So no, I would not. One time I saw Mark McGuire at my gym, and Mark McGuire was a bucket. Mark McGuire was a bucket. He was a bucket, and we was both in the locker room together. And I was like, "That's Mark McGuire." I should go over there and tell him thank you for his contribution to basketball. How much I enjoy watching him play. Then I thought about it. He played for Detroit. I ain't doing that. If you don't know, that's on him. That ain't my fault. I didn't even know Mark McGuire is from Chicago. He is from Chicago. West Side. I could have been a bigger person. But I told you, I started off this conversation by saying, I'm petty. So all that rationale just goes out the window. I ain't telling him nothing. If he don't know it, let his mama and all his family tell him. Great. He don't need me to tell him. John Stockton is a better basketball player, a better point guard than Isaiah Thomas. You'll tell me what Isaiah won, John didn't. You're right. That's part of the criteria. If you tell me he won, if you tell me he had better playoff success, yes. If you want to tell me Isaiah was a better scorer than John Stockton, yeah. Yeah, he was. He absolutely was. But here's what John Stockton was, and why I always, when it gets into this dream team debate about Isaiah not being on the team and John Stockton, they're talking about John Stockton as if he is a demotion. John Stockton shot better from the field than Isaiah. He was a better three-point shooter than Isaiah. He was a better free throw shooter than Isaiah. He averaged more assists than Isaiah. He averaged more steals than Isaiah. He averaged more rebounds than Isaiah. You say Isaiah is a better player. He had more playoff success. Yeah, he did. But individually, like head to head, John Stockton was a better defender. Oh, let's do this. Top accolades, 10-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA, 5-time All-Defensive Team, 9 times assist champion, 2-time steals champion. He averaged 13 points, 3 rebounds, 10 assists, 2 steals on 51% field goal for his career. 40% three-pointers for his career, and 91% from the free throw. But you'll tell me Isaiah is a better point guard. How? He won. He did. He was a better scorer. He was. But if you're looking at these careers, what John Stockton played 19 years and he was a 10-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA. That means over half the time he was the best point guard. He was either one or the first or the second best point guard in the league for almost 20 years. So you want to tell me Isaiah's a better point guard? I'm like, well, you can make a case. I just don't think that's true. I here are where tragedies just be commonplaces. Scottie Pippen at 28. My love blinds me, and I've made up my mind in the last 4 or 5 years that I'm not going to let Scottie Pippen ruin Scottie Pippen for me. I know who this guy was. I know who he was. I know who he wasn't. I know what he did. I know what he didn't do. I've watched almost all Scottie Pippen's games from the time he was a rookie. I know who he was. I know his strength. I know his weaknesses. I know the stuff that was in The Last Dance, and there was a lot of stuff they left out of The Last Dance. I was a kid, and we was playing ball, and when they started, before they started winning, we would get the Chicago Tribune, the Chicago Defender. We would comb over these stats, all these interviews. I still have those newspapers at home. I know what he said. I know what was written about him. Again, I know who he was. I know who he wasn't, even if he has some misconception about who he was and what he did and what his importance was. I think Scottie Pippen, amongst people who know basketball and love the game, have him cemented as one of the top 3 small forwards to ever play the game. I got LeBron, I got KD, I got Scottie. Kawhi ain't healthy enough, has not been as productive as Scottie. Dr. J couldn't shoot, didn't play defense, only could go right. Yeah, I only got KD and LeBron ahead of Scottie Pippen. So you got Scottie at 28, a 6-time champion, 7-time All-NBA, 7-time All-Star, 10-time All-Defensive, 1-time steal leader. He averaged 16 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 1 block on 47, basically 50% from the field, and 30% from 3-point. Probably the best defender of his era. You can make a case. There's a strong case that, yes, Kevin Durant is a better scorer, better offensive player. Of course he is. He ain't a lockdown defender like Scottie was. And I'm not just talking about Scottie's technique. I am also talking about his instincts on defense. So if you got Scottie at 28, look, I if I could, I put him top 25, but he's top 30 on this list, and I'm not mad. That's about where. There's not a whole lot of people who have had as much playoff success as him. If you're going to put, and they did put Dr. J higher, it is because Dr. J had more cultural impact. So I'm not going to lose sleep over Scottie being 28. Isaiah 27. Okay. Elgin Baylor at 26. This is where the beautiful people at the Hello Beautiful People podcast. This is, again, these are where the crimes are. We can say, I never saw Elgin play, and so I'm iffy about blah, 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 blah. That's fine. What we can do, though, is look at these numbers. We can listen through our research to people talk about him. And every high flyer from Michael Jordan, to David Thompson, to Dr. J, George Gervin, Alex English, every scorer that had a crazy layup package and was a volume scorer, see Elgin as the prototype. So when you talk about cultural impact, he did not win anything. And I hate that for him because the season he retired is a season they won. But cultural impact, to not have Elgin at top 20 between 20 and 25, you may say, well, it's 26. It's splitting hairs. Y'all don't feel like we'll get there. All I'm saying is I think that's a low for Elgin Baylor. 10-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA, Rookie of the Year on 28 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists, or 43% shooting. I think that's low. Here's another low. This is where the beautiful people from the Hello Beautiful People podcast again failed the people. And so I'm going to get into the meat of where I think the atrocities lie for the Hello Beautiful People on the Hello Beautiful People podcast. Y'all let Bleacher Report play in y'all face. This list has Charles Barkley at 25. You could say he ain't won nothing. Okay. At this point in the list, do rings matter? Yeah, they do. Charles Barkley is arguably top 3 power forwards ever. I said arguably. I didn't say he was. I said, well, you could make a case. I know, off the top of my head, maybe 2 people who may be ahead of him. But only 2 for me. He is 1-time MVP, 11-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA, 1 rebounding champion on 22 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, on 54% field goals, and 26 from 3. He didn't shoot the 3 well. And he played 16 seasons. The tragedy is that they didn't address is that Giannis is at 24. Giannis is nowhere as skilled a basketball. But yes, he won. He won 1. Okay, that's fine. He won 1. He got 1. You would have to explain to me and walk me through how he is a better basketball player than Charles Barkley, given that one of the criteria is cultural impact. Before there was a Chris Webber who could get the ball off a rebound, go the length of the court, score the ball. Before it was that type of player, a power forward who had that kind of skill set and would shoot from range. Charles Barkley is a prototype. You're not going to tell me that Giannis has more cultural impact to this day than Charles Barkley. You're not going to tell me that Giannis is a more skilled basketball player. Again, I think this list is prisoner to the moment. Like, what do we do? Why is Luka on this list? Why is Giannis a top 25 basketball players ever? Should Giannis be on this list somewhere? Not top 25. Not in front of Charles Barkley. Not 24. Y'all let Bleacher Report play in y'all face. This is why we can't get reparations. This is why. This lack of focus. Lack of focus. Why folks can't get a prayer through. Lack of focus. Y'all let them say Giannis is a better basketball player and have more cultural impact than Charles Barkley. Alabama, stand up. Shout out to Charles. Giannis at 24. I don't see it. I don't see it. D Wade at 23. Look, man. He from Chicago. We went to the same elementary school together. He was younger than me, but he was there. I respect D Wade. He's probably the third best shooting guard to ever play the game. He's a 3-time champion, 1-time Finals MVP, 8-time All-Star, 13-time All-8-time All-NBA, 13-time All-Star, 3 All-Defensive teams, 1 scoring title, 22 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, a block on 48% field goal, 29% for 3. D Wade was a great player. Number 23, though. We'd have to have a conversation. I think that's high. I understand when we look at his numbers are his numbers. This is a great career, Hall of Fame career, no doubt. And again, when we move these people around, it is not like we're saying they're garbage. We're talking about the best of the best who have ever played the game. So I'm not diminishing his contribution. He had playoff success. Clearly he did. He led a team. D Wade, when he has won, benefited from having a great team more than a lot of people did. And that covered up what he wasn't and what he could not do. And with that being said, this is a great career. Total respect to Flash. I think this is high. 23 is, I think it's high. Karl Malone at 22. When you got Charles Barkley at 26. You'd have to talk me through it. And with that being said, I saw Karl Malone's career, so I know who he was. I know who he was, what he did. He's a 2-time MVP, 14-time All-Star, 14-time All-NBA, 4-time All-Defensive, 25 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal on 50% field goal. Listen, the numbers are the numbers. And you're talking about somebody who played 19 years. He was consistent. Over half the time, if he played 19 years and he's a 14-time All-Star, that means there probably wasn't 2 seasons where he was not the first or the second best power forward in the league. I do I put him above Charles Barkley? Excuse me. I think Charles had a more robust game than what Karl Malone could do on the bat. And what Karl Malone did on basketball court, there were only maybe 1 or 2 power forwards who did it better. So again, I'm not diminishing him. But given playoff success and given cultural impact, I think Karl Malone and Charles Barkley should be switched. Karl Malone is top 30, top 25, top 26 player. Absolutely. Given the criteria, I think Charles is higher on this list. Here's another tragedy that the beautiful people from the Hello Beautiful People podcast didn't address, and they committed this crime. Y'all let Bleacher Report just play in y'all face. Moses Malone at 21 and Joker at 17. I don't understand this thing about Joker. What has he done? Okay, he's skilled, sure. But we're talking about a group of the best skilled basketball players. Moses played 21 seasons. He won once. 3-time MVP, 1-time final MVP, 8-time All-Star, 8-time All-NBA, 13-time All-Star, 2 All-Defensive Teams, 6 rebounding titles, 20 points, 12 rebounds, 2 blocks on 50% shooting for 21 years. Let me just read this. Joker, 1-time champion, 3-time MVP, 1 finals MVP, 7-time All-Star, 6 All-NBA on 21 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 56% field goals, 36% from 3-point. He's played 10 seasons. Moses, the only thing Joker does better than Moses is shoot from 3. Other than that, I don't see it. Because you could say, well, his offensive stats on that end of the board, the assists and the points, outweigh what Moses did. But Moses counterbalances that with rebounding titles, with All-NBA, with block titles, with All-NBA defensive teams. Because Joker don't play defense. And you're talking about, again, cultural impact. Moses gave us gems. Moses named his dunks. Moses said 4-4-4. I think this list is a prisoner of the moment and feel like, well, we can't have the majority of this list be people who aren't playing right now. So we need to sprinkle some of these new players in. And I don't see it. You're not going to tell me Joker's a better basketball player. He does things better than Moses. Fine. But I'm talking about like the whole game, the whole floor, playing on both sides of the... Moses almost averaged 30 points. So he could score. And he rebound. And he played D. He got block titles. When is the last time you saw a Joker block shot? Go ahead, I'll wait. Again, I'm just trying to take common sense to high places. And this is what the Hello Beautiful People podcast on the Beautiful People podcast did not talk about. All right, so let's get down to the nitty gritty here. Kevin Garnett at 16. Okay. Jerry West at 15. I'm fine with that. Oscar at 14. I had this conversation with Jamie earlier. Oscar probably should be higher. Yes, he won one time, one NBA MVP, season MVP, 11-time All-NBA, 12-time All-Star, Rookie of the Year, 7-time assist champion. 26 points for his career, 8 assists for his career, 10 assists for his career on 50% shooting for his career, and he played 14 seasons. There's an argument to be made that's fair that Oscar could be in top 10. Given everything that we just said, I just read to you about his stats. When you talk about cultural impact, Oscar basically created free agency. Y'all want to talk to me about LeBron and player empowerment? No, it was Oscar who did that. Oscar was the prototype. He is the primate of player empowerment. There is a free agent system for the NBA today because of Oscar Robertson, and had to sue in order to be able to be a free agent to play basketball where he wanted to play. So when you talk about cultural impact, and if that is the criteria to which the Bleacher Report gave us, you can make a case. Oscar being top 10. Oscar averaged 10, almost how many rebounds? 8 rebounds. For a season, he was the original one who averaged a triple-double. He averaged that triple-double with averaging 10 rebounds a game right next to a Lou Alcindor. So it wasn't just that he was battling Wilt and Bill Russell for rebounds. He was also battling a 21, 22-year-old Lou Alcindor for rebounds, and he came away that season averaging 10. You can make a case. You can make a case that he should be in the top 10. Having him at 14 could be low. If most people will put Hakeem Olajuwon ahead of him, and I'm like, how? I love Hakeem. Saw him. Know what he could do. He had more playoff success than Oscar by one championship, but he got it. But cultural impact? Hakeem ain't never averaged a triple-double. Hakeem wasn't responsible for running an offense. Hakeem was the offense. Hakeem also had to have somebody get him the ball. Oscar had the ball in his hands. You could make a case that Oscar should be no lower than 12. And that's on the low end. On the high end, maybe he's 9. Between 9 and like he should, you can make a case, and on this list, we're talking about I'm gonna get to the top 10. Why everybody's screaming about Kobe top 10? This is what the Hello Beautiful People podcast on the Beautiful People didn't do. Oscar could be easily qualified for the top 10. But they ain't talk about that. They want to talk about the Kobe Bean Bryant. Well, let's talk about the Kobe Bean Bryant. Kevin Durant, 13. Why? And how is he above Oscar? Again, I think this is being prisoners of the moment here. Okay. Hakeem at 12? Above Oscar? For what? Fine, one of the greatest careers. I saw him play. I know what he could do. Amazing on both ends of the court. Cultural impact. I think perhaps here's where I would fix the list. Oscar would be 12, Hakeem 13, and Kevin Durant 14. That's where I would stand on that. Kobe at 11. James White. James White is my brother. I love James White. We communicate often about various and sundry things. One of the things that we have in common is that we both love Kobe B. Bryant. God bless him. And we will never get over Kobe not being here. It's just not possible. James, another difference between James White and I is that he loves Vanessa Bryant, to which I don't. But we've worked that out, and so it's fine. James White makes a case that I think is a fair and it's a good case. I don't think Kobe Bryant is a carbon copy of Michael Jordan. Kobe is Kobe in his own right. He fought to be Kobe. Did he have Michael as a prototype? Absolutely. Did he adopt what Michael did in this game? He absolutely did. But Kobe put in the work, man. His work ethic was far above his peers. So what I would say is Kobe Bryant is not better. Is not a better basketball player than Michael Jordan. I think he's just as good in some ways as Michael was. I think the only thing that Kobe did better than Michael is shooting three. He shot at volume from three. Michael didn't do that. To that end, he has better numbers from three than Michael. Here's where I would disagree with James White. Kobe is not a better not a better post player than Michael Jordan. And I'm going to give you the argument that Tex Winter made when he was comparing their post games. And Phil Jackson had made this analysis too. Kobe Bryant was not as strong as Michael Jordan in the post. Therefore, you could push Kobe out of the post. And why Kobe ended up taking a lot of long twos and threes. Because Kobe did not hold his position in the post, and a bigger, stronger defender, which most times they were thicker than Kobe. If they weren't stronger, they just had a stronger base that they could push him out of the post. And Kobe was one of the best post players of his era, and one of the best post players as a shooting guard ever. So again, I'm not diminishing him like he's garbage. No, he wasn't. He was excellent from the post. I'm saying, was he a better post player than Michael Jordan? No. The analysis they made is that you could push Kobe out. The text says you could push Kobe out the post and make him shoot long twos while the shot clock is going down while he was fighting for position. Every player and Michael's coaches says that Michael had the strength of a big man. And Magic says that when Michael got you in the post and put his hand on your thigh and gripped your thigh, there was nothing you could do. It was like a vice grip. You're not moving Michael Jordan out of the post. He was too strong. Therefore, he shot better from the field goal from that position. He had a better field goal percentage than Kobe in the post because he was more efficient. Both of them had elite layup packages that could finish around the rim. It's not even a thing. He was not. I just don't think he was a better post player. That's where James and I differ. You have Kobe at 11. And I'll tell you, without being emotional and irrational, I think that's fine. I think Kobe. If you said Kobe is 11, okay, all right. I think there were between him and Tim Duncan, those two dominated their era. They split championships over a 10-year period. No, actually, it was probably over a 13-year period. They both got five. And so the championships was coming through LA or San Antonio. The numbers are about the same. Like they're right there. The issue is with Tim Duncan that I think gives him an edge over Kobe being in the top 10 is that everybody 9 times out of 10 will say Tim Duncan is the greatest power forward to ever play the game. I don't think anybody will ever say that Kobe Bryant is the best shooting guard to have ever played the game. You could, there's a generation that sees Kobe as their North Star, and I totally understand that. And they might say he's my favorite player. I think now Kobe has moved into myth, and we erase parts of his game that that we saw. But I don't think I think for the majority the consensus is Michael is the best shooting guard. Kobe is number 2. He is the second greatest shooting guard to ever play the game. But Tim Duncan is, I think the consensus would say he is the best power forward to have ever played the game. And if you said Tim Duncan is the best power forward to ever play the game, I don't think you'll get a whole lot of arguments. I think that is the separation as to why Tim Duncan is in the top 10 and why Kobe is not. If I had to move Kobe Bryant into the top 10, which I'm fine with him resting and being at 11, here's a hot take. If I had to take anyone out and put Kobe into the top 10, and here's where I disagree, here's where them beautiful people on the Hello Beautiful People podcast got it wrong, totally wrong. I'm not taking Larry Bird out of the top 10. No, how? I'm not taking Wilt Chamberlain out of the top 10. Not for Kobe. Like I what? To me that's not rational. If I was to take somebody out of the top 10, it would be Bill Russell. Now, here's why Bill Russell cannot come out of the top 10. Because one of the pieces of the criteria is cultural impact. And why his numbers should be contextualized. And I push back on this idea that just because he has 11 championships, just because he has 11 championships makes him top 10. Because Sam Jones is on his list, and Sam Jones has 10 rings. He has 10. He was right there with Russell. He has 10 rings. We never put Sam Jones in the top. We don't even mention Sam Jones as a top 10 shooting guard. So this can't be just about the 11 rings. Because if that's the case, we don't judge them the same. Sam Jones is nowhere near the top 10. So why do we have Bill Russell on this list? Because of his cultural impact. Bill Russell may be the most important man to have ever played in the NBA. Bill Russell may be the best man to have ever played in the NBA. He loved white women, but he hung out with Jim Brown. And, it was the 60s, and nobody's perfect. So not holding that against him, I just don't. I don't know how you can. Again, I don't know how you. Who are you moving for Kobe? You'll say Steph. That's a fair conversation. I don't see how you take the greatest shooter who has playoff success, who has individual accolades, who has season MVPs, who has a final MVP, the greatest shooter, and you not make how is he not top 10? We'll say that Steph is the best shooter the NBA has ever seen. And I think consensus will say that's true. Do we say that Kobe Bryant was the best? Some people would say that he was the best scorer to ever play the game. I think there's data that says that he was not. He was not the best rebounder. He was not the best passer. He was great at all of those things. I don't think we call him the best when at anything except for scoring. And I think again that's a conversation to be had. I'm not saying he's not. I'm not saying that he is. I know who I would choose. It was not Paul Pierce. It's not KD. My choice for that is the guy who has the all the scoring titles. But we'll get there. This is why I think Kobe is safe at 11. Because for all of the one of ones that I think the top 10 are anomalies in the game. Like there's no other. There's Shaq is 101, Wilt is 101, Larry is 101, Magic is 101, Michael's 101, KD, Tim Duncan is 101. They're all one of ones. I don't know if Kobe is one of one. I think we have prototypes for Kobe. I think if Kobe had won one or two more championships, to which he was trying to do, it would be a harder case not to make him top 10. But Kobe is safe in the pantheon of great basketball players. And I don't think 11 and everybody in the 10 would say he deserves to be right here with us. And he absolutely does. But there's only so many numbers. There's only so much room. And so to say he's at 11, I don't think that's disrespectful. I just don't. To say he's the 11th best basketball player and the second best shooting guard to have ever played the game is not disrespectful. You could say, I love him so much. I want him to be number one about everything. That's how the people who do that are the people who think Tupac is the greatest rapper of all time. You're just emotional and you're clingy. That's fine. You could be that way. But I think given the criteria of the Bleacher Report, I think Kobe is safe at 11 and Steph is fine at 10. And again, if I could, I would move Bill Russell to 11, put Kobe at 10, and put Steph at 9 and move everybody up from there. But if I leave Bill Russell where he is, I think Kobe is fine. Look, this top 10 list, there's about 7 to 8 players we're not going to argue about. 7 to 8 players that everybody has in their top 10. It's not like it's not a thing. We may wrangle about the order, but I think the Bleacher Report basically, for the most part, got the top 10 right. If they screwed up everything else, I think the top 10 is fine. Kobe at 11, Steph at 10, Wilt at 9, Larry at 8, Timmy at 7, Shaq at 6, Bill at 5, great Bill Russell, Magic at 4, and here's where crimes happen. That the beautiful people on the Hello Beautiful People podcast, who are LeBron stands. I will be so glad when LeBron retires. Because when I tell you, if there's one person who has held basketball hostage, it has been him. I have plenty of LeBron gripes, and I think, and I will get to them since I'm here and I got time. And since it's my podcast, and y'all didn't bring me on y'all podcast to talk about it because you ain't want me to say nothing about your guy, well, I'm finna let him have it. There is no universe in which I choose anybody as the greatest player of all time other than Michael Jordan. In every iteration of me throughout perpetuity, throughout the universe, Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. I'm talking about everything from on the court, what he did on the court, what we saw on the court, cultural impact. Look, it's not even what are we talking about? Cultural impact? He is the North Star. LeBron doesn't get his shoe deal without Michael. Kobe doesn't get his shoe. Like he started all of that. So again, given the Bleachers Report criteria, Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. I'm fine with that. Here's where I think they got it wrong. Because they'll say on the Hello Beautiful People podcast, the beautiful people will say that LeBron should be number one. And I say to that is the devil lies and people snort cocaine all the time when they shouldn't. Lionel Richie thought he was, Rick James thought he was a better artist than Lionel Richie. People have opinions. If I'm honest and I'm rational, and I say this publicly and privately, I think that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the greatest basketball player to have ever played the game. When you look at Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, when you look at his career, high school he won. He won 3 championships in college and didn't lose in college. He didn't go to the Olympics because he was protesting injustice and racism. When he got to the NBA, he won. Like, there's nothing that he hasn't done. You look at his accolades, you look at his statistics. If you did a blind test and you put Michael's career, LeBron's career, Kareem's career side by side, and you looked at a blind test, you would say, well, this guy who has 6 MVPs, 6 championships, 2 finals MVPs, scored 40,000 some points. Look at his rebound totals. Let's do this. 6-time champion, 6-time MVP, 2-time finals MVP, 15-time All-NBA, 19-time All-Star, 11 All-Defensive. He was a Rookie of the Year. He has 2 scoring titles on 25 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks on 55% shooting, 20 years played. He played 20 years. 19 of those years, he was an all-star. If Kareem could smile, and if he would have played nice and had a shoe deal, I think, and was more amiable, I think he would be considered the greatest basketball player. He would be the GOAT. Michael and LeBron had soft qualities, which I think LeBron's were more devious and more sinister. But their soft qualities made them more palatable for the mainstream. Kareem was not. He was not that. And so he's regulated to 3rd place, which I technically think that's low. I think he has had a better basketball career than LeBron James. Basketball career. Again, looking at the Bleachers Report criteria, Kareem has had a better basketball player than LeBron James. I'm not hating on LeBron James. I'm just calling it like I see it. I'm not blinded. My love doesn't blind me. If you look at his career up against Michael, there's very little daylight. And what gives him the edge is points, of course. But Michael wasn't chasing statistics. That's Michael's fault. To his own admission, if he was chasing stats, he never would have retired. I think there's a strong case that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar should be number one. Just given the criteria. What holds him back and keeps him out of the number one slot is cultural impact. He was not a global superstar. Okay, you can't be everything. So if you have him at 3, given the criteria, okay, I think there's a case that he could be higher. But 3. LeBron, the beautiful people on the Hello Beautiful People podcast are blinded. I don't know why. They don't see what I see. It's fine. LeBron, four-time champion, four-time MVP, four-time Finals MVP, 21-time All-Star, 21 All-NBA, 6-time All-Defensive Team, 1 scoring title, 1 assist title, Rookie of the Year on 27 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, 50% shooting, 35 from 3-point. That's LeBron James is a once in a generational player. Maybe once in a lifetime player. We've never seen anything like LeBron James before. That package, that body, that IQ, that skill set. He has been impressive since day one. He has. It's not even a thing. And with that being said, he is exhausting. People want to make the case that LeBron is number one because LeBron didn't go to North Carolina. He didn't go to some prestigious college. He never had a Hall of Fame coach. He never had a system. He put teams on his back and got to the finals. And you want to tell me that he got to the finals with 9 straight times? As if we give out participation trophies, but they want to count that for something. Jerry West did too, but we don't give him any credit for getting there and only winning 1 time. But okay. What that doesn't say though, because they can't make a case for LeBron being number one without trying to diminish Michael Jordan. And I'm sick of it. Like, make your case for LeBron without mentioning Michael. You want to know why you always mention Michael when they're making this case for LeBron? Because he ain't Michael. And they know it. You want to talk about the difference between LeBron and Michael Jordan. When we talk about LeBron James, we're talking about greatness. When we talk about Michael Jordan, we're talking about perfection. That's the difference. He's great. Best at his position. You want to tell me that he is the second greatest basketball player of all time? I'd say okay. He is great. He has been great. Done great things for the league. Also hurt the league too. But that's fine. But when we talk about Michael Jeffrey, we're talking about perfection. You'll say that LeBron James didn't have this, he didn't have that. He didn't have a Hall of Fame coach. You're right. But Michael didn't either. Phil Jackson was an assistant. He wasn't a Hall of Fame coach. He was not a Hall of Fame coach. When he started coaching Michael Jordan, he became that. You can make more of a strong case that Michael Jordan made him a Hall of Fame coach. Michael Jordan was already going to the Hall before Phil Jackson started coaching him. So this misinformation of, LeBron James didn't have a Hall of Fame coach. Michael Jordan, when he started winning, didn't either. You'll say that LeBron James didn't have a triangle. You're right. He didn't have a triangle. But on every single team LeBron James has been on, he was the system. Everything ran through him. You want to know why he got so many points and not so many and don't have that many scoring titles at all to show for it? It's not that he was a volume scorer. It's that he was his own system. He had the green light from the day he played his first regular season game in Sacramento. I remember that game. Had never seen anything quite like that. He was there from day one. Kobe was not there from day one. Even if Kobe would have started his first year in the NBA, he wouldn't have, he needed the time. He was not ready. LeBron was there from day one. Magic was there from day one. Michael was there from day one. Larry was there from day one. Shaq was there from day one. There were guys who were there from day one, and LeBron was one of those guys. Not taking anything away from him, but the way you get all the points that he's had is that he was the system. Michael was his system before the triangle. He ate. We've never seen anything like Michael from 84 to 91. There's no player in the league equal to Michael Jordan from the moment he stepped on the court in 84 to 91. Ain't seen nothing like that. Nobody, there's not a career, that is not a season played in NBA that compared to what he did in 88, 89, when he won everything except a championship and a finals MVP. So don't talk to me about LeBron being a better basketball. No. You say he didn't have a Hall of Fame coach. Again, Phil Jackson wasn't a Hall of Fame coach when he started coaching Michael Jordan, but LeBron James has basically picked every coach he's had, except for one time that I remember. I remember he got Paul Silas fired from Cleveland that first go round. I remember he got rid of that Russian for Ty Lue. He did all of that. The only reason he didn't do it in Miami is because Pat Riley was there, and Pat Riley took his cookies, and LeBron left. This is the difference between the two. LeBron James has had more top 100 players and Hall of Famers that he has played with, that he has chosen to be on his team. He has had the opportunity to go to the front office and say, this is who I want to play with. You need to pay him. You need to get me this coach. He has basically been de facto GM for most of his career. Michael Jordan was an employee of the Chicago Bulls. He didn't pick his coach. Management said, this is who you're going to play for. Management said, these are your teammates. Coach said, this is your system. You're going to stay right here and you're going to make it work. And Michael, staying in one place with less talent than LeBron James has ever won with or lost with, got more out of his career while playing less years, while giving away at least 2 years in his prime, and gave away another year after 98. LeBron has had more control over his career, more control over personnel decisions, more dexterity and freedom to move between conferences than Michael Jordan ever had, and has had less to show for it. But you want to tell me LeBron should be number one. And I'm like, ugh. This whole idea about ring culture, and now all of a sudden this narrative is, I don't know where ring culture came from while he's playing for a team that don't even hang conference banners. The Lakers are all about a ring culture. Kobe said, I ain't going to be judged by how many rings I win. But now, since you coming up short, now you want to rewrite the narrative with your podcast. I don't know where ring culture came from. You weren't saying that when you left Cleveland to go to Miami to do what? To lose? No, you went. Not for one, not for two, not for three, not for four. You went to chase rings, and you have chased rings all through the Eastern Conference and now in the Western Conference. You've been chasing rings, but now since you're coming up short and you're not going to be the greatest, I don't care if LeBron James go on the basketball court and cure cancer. You still not Michael Jordan. So when everybody want to, talk to me about LeBron James be the GOAT. No, we're not doing that. I know you love him. I get it. I think Biggie's the greatest rapper of all time. I do. I'm not going to choose anybody over Biggie. But that's probably because my love blinds me. I'm probably blinded. I know. You could listen to those records, Ready to Die, Life After Death, and put it up against today's, music and be like, well, this sounds dated. It does. It was simpler times. I just think bar for bar, pound for pound, greatest rapper that I've ever heard in my life. And I know I'm conflicted because Kendrick is out there. Ooh, Kendrick, this Clips record. I mean, there are people who are great, but I'm going to choose Big. And so I understand being emotional and having your love blind you. And most LeBron fans are like that. That's your guy. I get it. But when given the Bleacher Report criteria, again, my conclusion is, and I'll stop, I think for the most part they got it right. The real travesty to which the Hell of a Beautiful People, the Beautiful People on the Hell of a Beautiful People podcast did not address was about 13 through 35. That's where the crimes were commonplace that they didn't address. And so to this end, I feel like I've made my case. Since they didn't invite me, Victor George, who's supposed to be my friend, did not invite me on a podcast because he did not want me to tell you the people these truths. I feel it was my duty, my obligation to do the same. Do it. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I've done. I'm here to serve the people, give the people the light. So there's that. So I hope I've helped somebody. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to help. I wanted to help somebody. All right. I'm gonna let y'all go. God bless you tonight. I'll let you go. This is for your consideration, and thank you for your time. All right.